I remember one time we were making confession and we were in the car because we woke up late and they were doing our own because they usually don't listen to our own. And my last one was like, that's a lie. Because we're confessing like we already have what we don't have yet. And we're like, that's a lie, we don't have that. But now that we have you, now to me, remember I told you that that's how you comfort things that you don't have. Now you understand. Oh yeah, that's how it works. I got into faith through my mother. I mean, my mother is a church person. She goes to church literally every day, except perhaps Saturday. So church was a thing for me. And then one person I like to mention when it comes to knowing more about the faith, the first person I like to mention is someone I like to go Basho or Sinosho. Then, because I was in secondary school, where we have fellowship, school fellowship. Unlike the rest that like to condemn you for not coming to fellowship, he will get to ask you why and listen to you, and he has the biggest mind I've ever seen. So it makes me like being around church and not being forced, like my mother usually forced me to go to church then. And then next person I like to mention is CS then, where we are like about, I think I was around 11, 12 years old. Where the class called Soa class, this man taught us the synoptic gospel. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. He taught us that, like, you know the Beatitudes. We know, we literally. There's nothing in the book of John can tell me that can confuse me about, because he taught us the book of John and every other part of the synoptic gospel. That's one person I like to appreciate. Then when we got to Redeem in the Teens Church, Sister P, Sister Remy, Sister Dorothy, people like that. I mean, these are people that are doing well in their professional whatever. I mean, she was working in oil and gas, and we have people that are working in big companies and are teaching us as Saint teacher, and that's kind of inspiring. Like, they know the Bible, and they are top shot in their personal walks of life and all that. And then when I got to university, another person I like to mention, Pastor Soji, who handed over to me as the president of an interdenominational fellowship. And it's quite funny because I used to be the jester of the fellowship. I couldn't understand why he chose me. But one thing that I remember, when we're going to have partners dinner and like we're going to head the committee, everybody like laughing. And obviously I was going to say, no, what kind of mistake is that? Me? I'm hardly ever serious. And I heard my voice loud and clear. That's the first time I would clearly hear God talk to me. Yeah. It was like, if you run away from this, you're going to run for the rest of your life. I remember that clearly. And I kept quiet. And the guys were like, so seriously, you're going to be the president of the committee, or chairman of the committee. And so from there, I got to understand how to pray for things to happen, pray about people, and all of that. And then, of course, just when he handed over to me, I wasn't going to 300 level. And something happened. Because I'm getting to the part where I talk about things that really shook my faith and all that. So now I'm not the president of like a fellowship. And I go to school to check my result, and I saw withdraw you. Like I was escaped from university. People were coming to me to seek counsel because they dropped their GP, they had a carryover. I was escaped from the university. And yet I still take time to talk to them while I was trying. I didn't tell anybody about it, I was just praying about it. And one of the things I learned that period was this song. I mean, that's what I sing like all the time. I will pray, I will sing. Favor me in my darkness night through the sorrows and the pain. And luckily for me, I was really listening to Pastor Paul John TV. And eventually I joined the church because I used to like sneak from my church to down there and then I go back to my church. Then I was like, what am I doing? Let me just join this church. So I've learned how to pray even in the midst of crisis. So I was doing that. And I was not telling people. People come to me, come and tell them about their relationship. I was being withdrawn from the university. I cannot even tell my mother that. It lasted for a semester, but I tell you, that's like the most impactful, life-turning moment in my life because I learned so many things through the journey of trying to correct that process to be able to get back into the school system. Because I was essentially taken away from everything I had to do with school. I was frustrated. My file was no longer anywhere in the school. But the process of trying to walk through it, go back to my school, see the way they make error in my settlement result, what caused the whole thing, I learned so many things. I met people that I have wronged, people I have offended, people I was rude to. They were the one I had to go and meet to help me when I had to go back to my school. Because after leaving secondary school, there's some people I met, I was not greeting them again because I felt like I used to beat me. Those people I had to go and meet. I learned so many things in that process that changed my faith. And then the most recent thing that happened to me that also made me shake in my faith was when something happened that I lost a lot of money. I was into serious debt. And this is just like 2-3 years ago. It was so bad that I got to the point of depression, to the point of suicide. It was that bad. But eventually, I learned to go back to the confession, praising God, and the part that Pastor Paul you praise about, don't let your crisis go to waste. Learning and unlearning and relearning and all of those things. That moment of my life to also kind of brought me back to all of those things I've learned in church about. I always remember that part that Pastor Paul you said, don't let your crisis get to waste. Learn from it, pray through it, praise through it, and hear from God what it is you need to do to get out of it. And one thing I learned from the story of Job during that moment was that Job said, at last, the thing I feared the most has happened to me. And one thing I found out in that passage is that is one thing he feared the most, and it happened to him. Guess what? After that experience, that means there's nothing again that man fear in his life. There's nothing again that can shake that man, because he has experienced it and he went through it. And that's the same story for me, because it was during that moment of that crisis, financial crisis in my life, that I realized my mindset changed about the concept of finances and all that. That I know that being broke can never be my problem again, because it opened up my mind. I can never be anxious about money ever again because of that process I went through and how I got out of it. It changed my mindset about money, about wealth, about having my needs met, and being able to practicalize what we're being taught in church. That's essentially what helped me through my faith journey in life, and being able to practice what we learned in church. One of the most powerful things practice I learned in this church precisely is confession, confessing the word of God, especially when you have a word from God during the process of praying through a particular process or a particular thing, a particular need. And we practice that in almost everything we do. That's myself and my wife, especially during the two child we have during the pregnancy. We confess through the process, and I'll tell you, it's the most easiest journey ever, to the point that, like, each time we go to the clinic or the hospital to say that we are ready, they were like, you don't come to tell us you're ready, we know you're ready, because they don't see the usual thing. Because just as we confess that we don't have to shout, we don't have to call people for help, we just go quietly and give back. And that's the way we had it. The same way we confess, that's the way we have it. In fact, the second one was the most seamless delivery ever. In fact, most of the staff were not around. So we're like, no, we can do it together, I've done this before. And it was seamless. Even where we live currently, we confess how we get it, what it's going to look like. So the practice of confessing about your situation, your business, your family, your children is one major thing I've learned in this church that is working for me, that we do daily. We even taught the kids how to confess. They do that every day. They have their own personal confession for the first one, for the second one. They have the personal confession, and it has been helping. They could see it. I remember one time we were making confession, and we were in the car because we woke up late, and they were doing our own, because they usually don't listen to our own. And my last one was like, that's a lie. Because we're confessing like we're confessing like we already have what we don't have yet. And we're like, that's a lie, we don't have that. But now that we have you, now to me, remember I told you that's how you comfort things that you don't have. Now you understand, oh yeah, that's how it works. And that has been one major thing that has really, really shaped our life and our journey in this walk with Christ. I would like to tell people that this thing that we learn in church, practice them. Like people say, Christianity is not a religion, it's a practice, it's a way of life. And the Bible says that faith comes by the hearing of the word. So this word you're hearing, practice it. That's how your faith come alive. All of this confession, prayer, everything, every activity we're doing in church, practice them, and you will see the effect in your life. Because that's the evidence. You can't just be telling people you're Christian, and they're not seeing evidence. But for you to get evidence is when you practice all of these things you're being taught in church. So please take them seriously, practice them daily, make it a lifestyle, and you see the results. My faith journey.